want to make sure if someone's looking at me, I want to be in the picture. How do I do that?
Yep. You want to pull your panel back towards you just a half an inch, like full. You're on a laptop.
iPad.
Yeah. Make it tilted so it's aiming lower at you, not too much, just an inch or so. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to keep it there.
Okay. Everybody, welcome aboard. This is Gary Wilson. Welcome to this week's live presentation of Path of Prosperity. Welcome to all of you. Some of you are a lot of you in the Investor Agent Training Program. Many of you in the Rental Profits Without the Pain Program. Some of you are in the Turning Rental Problems into Real Estate Profits, which is property management, of course. Some of you are in the Flipping for Profits program, and some of you are in wholesaling, so everybody wins. So welcome aboard, all of you. And literally coast to coast, we got people here literally from California to Maine and New York, and really pretty much everywhere in between. So in any case, the cool thing is this, is we from time to time bring on special guests, okay? And tonight's no exception. We generally do this about once a month, okay? So the subject is about trust. I'm going to let Richard talk more about that here in just a second, but just a little bit of housekeeping. First things first, this is obviously live. So if you could use the chat box to enter your questions, I'll monitor them throughout the evening. Also, and if you're listening to this in recorded mode, either way, make sure you always get the email from Beverly the next day, the day after a scheduled webinar, so that you can get the updates, information, scheduling changes, so forth and so on. That'll help you serve you better, help everybody stay in sync and stay in tune. So in any case, also if you do from time to time, we may unmute you. We may even allow you to put your video on your camera that is on your camera. For right now, though, it's just Albert, Richard, and I. Albert's a student in Southern California, and Richard is a good friend of his, and also has a lot of information to share tonight regarding trust when it comes to real estate. So without further ado, welcome Albert and welcome Richard. I appreciate you taking your precious time to do this for the guys and the gals all over the US and Canada. And I'm pleased to announce for the Canadians, I'm actually in Canada right now, but this is applicable not just in the US and Canada, but through several countries throughout the world. So Richard, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself, because it'll give us some context. And then go ahead and dive right in. I'll monitor the questions for you, okay?
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
My name is Richard Howard. I first purchased my trust from our law firm, which is the Paul Rosen Law Firm in Houston, Texas in 2012. And at that time, I was in the real estate business and I was doing some other stuff. And I knew the kind of trust I wanted, and I was able to find that through the Rosen Law Firm. Now, here's the thing. We're going to tell you maybe a story today, not a story, but just we're going to tell you about a particular, and you can see at the top of the page that this is when you describe this trust, non-grantor, irrevocable, complex, discretionary trust with spendthrift provision. But if you go and you talk to 1,000 accountants and you talk to 1,000 attorneys, and you say, if you take this without showing them what is on the screen here, is it possible that our trust is a non-taxable entity? They're going to say it's nonsense, because their world is revocable trusts, and they are in fact taxable entities. But this is a specially constructed trust. It first got its genesis in the late 1960s in the Texas area in the oil and gas industry, large land parcels, ranches, farms.
Hey Richard, real quick, your volume is that's good. Yeah, move your hand to it. Now you're good. Okay, your volume was great and it faded. I apologize, but
okay.
Now you're in good shape. Yeah.
All right. So the two basic reasons that people come into this trust, and this is perfect for real estate, which I'll get into in a minute, but I want to go back to the Houston law firm that started this trust. they weren't the originators of the trust, but two of the three partners passed away. It's got a long history, over 50 years. We have a network of accountants, tax attorneys who know this trust, file tax returns. We have a whole structure, and we've been doing this for a long time. So basically two reasons: asset protection, which is bulletproof. The spendthrift provision up at the top gives you your bulletproof asset protection. The corpus of the trust cannot be reached if it's properly set up. You cannot have your assets taken from you if they're properly in a spendthrift trust. Then the other side of this is the tax benefits. And this is where it's going to, you know, possibly could freak you out, because you most likely have not heard anything like this. But we actually comply with state and federal laws and the IRS. We generally comply, and we'll talk about this in a minute, with a part of the IRS code that we call it 643 compliant, but it's got a lot of other chapters and stuff in front of it. But basically it gets down to 643. And under trust, and it's found under trust and estates in the Internal Revenue Code. And it addresses two very specific types of income, which generally is described as passive income. Now, active income, commissions and things like that, we'll talk about in a few minutes. But we're going to talk about capital gains. And in this, and not only for real estate, but for stock, gold, silver, cryptocurrency, anything that you buy and sell at a higher price is subject to capital gains taxes. And if an asset is placed into this trust and then followed up with a quitclaim deed, because you're going to have to put the title into the trust, assets held in the trust, and I'm paraphrasing for a moment, assets in the trust when sold that would normally be subject to capital gains taxes is capital gains tax deferred forever. We have to say in 21-year increments. And the reason 21-year increments is to comply with 643. There's a law of perpetuity, law of perpetuity, which says something must start and something must end. So the life of this trust is 21 years, renewable by the trustee for another 21 years. Now, I'm 7 years into my trust. I could renew my trust right now for another 21 years and not worry about going to the end of 21 years. So we have to say that it's capital gains tax deferred forever, but in 21-year increments, which means that if the trust should ever default and not renew, death of all the parties, for instance, then the trust would owe the taxes, but no one's around to pay them. So I don't know how the IRS is going to collect the money. Our clients don't have to worry about 1031 exchanges. As a matter of fact, clients who have their assets, that place assets into the trust, that have gone through multiple 1031 exchanges, can now sell that product and defer all of the capital gains taxes, even from previous 1031 exchanges. Our clients can buy a property today, sell it tomorrow, make $1 million, and as long as the money comes back into the corpus of the trust, it's capital gains tax deferred. Just don't have to worry about it. You're under no obligation to invest the money. You don't have to put it back into another property. Now you can invest it into another property the next day, any part of it, all of it, or none of it. You're not obligated. Now, the other part of 643 talks about things that are described as extraordinary dividends by the IRS. And normally I would go into, I'm kind of going through this so that we get through it. we're under a little bit of a time crunch. I would normally go a little bit slower, but we'll come back to some things if we have to cover them.
Okay.
So these are things, and this is where it gets really interesting to people in the real estate business. Extraordinary dividends are things like stock dividends. You sell some stock, it's a capital gains event, and you pay capital gains taxes on it. If you get a dividend, that means that that it's paying out as a dividend and it comes into the trust. Other types of extraordinary dividends are interest income, royalties, limited partnership income, lease income, and get this for people who are holding properties, rental income.
Hmm.
It's all reportable income to the trust, but it's not taxable to the trust. So you buy a building, you structure the lease payments to be made to the trust. The lease payments that come into the trust are income to the trust that you report, but that's okay. But it's not taxable income to the trust. So all of that money, now you don't get depreciation under this trust, but there's no reason to have depreciation because you take depreciation to reduce your taxes. So if there's no taxes due, then there's no need to go through all these depreciation schedules that you spend a fortune on anyway. So
well, the other thing about depreciation is that it actually has to be recaptured when you do sell the building. So it's not like it's free money. It's just you're temporarily borrowing the money. So I'm kind of liking this trust idea, you know?
Well, it's very interesting if you can wrap your head around it and trust in it. And we have ways that we have tax preparers and enrolled agents. We like enrolled agents with the IRS as our tax people because they understand the IRS. And they don't have any problem. My guy signs my tax return and e-files it and never hears back from the IRS. That's another thing we'll talk about maybe in a minute. But our trusts are non-taxable entities. So if you're gonna buy, I have clients that are flipping houses. It's all capital gains. They use the money in the trust to fix the houses up. They'll endow the trust with some money. Then they use the money to fix the house up. They sell it. The money once the property is sold, the money comes back into the trust, and you can use it all over again to do whatever you want to do. You can buy and hold. You can buy and sell. It won't matter. Capital gains taxes are capital gains tax deferred forever in 21-year increments. And it's easy. I mean, no one lets a trust. Everybody renews their trust. Not a big deal.
Now, as far as ownership, Richard, just want to clarify. So, does the trust actually own the asset? In this case, the property, or do you own it yourself, and only the income from the property goes into the trust?
No, that it has to be an asset of the trust.
Okay.
So you can buy the property yourself personally, and then through another mechanism plus a quit claim deed, you quit claim it to the trust. You don't actually have to record the deed, but if you sell it about a week before you sell it, you that quit claim.
Hey, your volumes, you're losing your volume there just for a second, Richard. Sorry. There you go. You're good.
Okay. Still okay?
Yep.
Okay. Where was I? We were.
The asset owns the trust. You can quit claim deed. Excuse me. Yeah, if you need to.
Yeah, and you don't actually record the deed, but about a week before you close on it, produce it to the escrow company. They will then record it, and that proves that the trust is selling it. And as long as the money is paid back into the trust, it just defers the capital gains taxes, and you use it all over again. Now, you may be sitting there saying, okay, how do I live? How do I pay my bills in this trust? Okay. Well, let's just say, for instance, that you placed your home into the trust, your cars, your everything that you owned into the trust. And let's just say that you now have a building that and this happens all the time, that you're wanting to sell. Let's just say that it's a $500,000 building. Well, the thing that you do would be to set up your trust, quit claim the property into the trust, sell it. The money would come into the trust, and now it's sitting there in your trust, of which you have the control of the trust. Now, if you remember, that's not taxable income to you or to the trust. Your home is in the trust. The assets of the trust are now the responsibility of the trust. So the trust can pay your mortgage, your utilities, your upkeep, your property taxes, everything. And that's not income to you. The trust makes car payments, gas. It can reimburse the trustee for the business of the trust. It's when you can basically use the money in the trust for kids, your minors. It can pay for education, clothes, food, virtually everything for minor kids, all the way through graduate school. And I won't get into how you get it in there, but there's a way to get your assets into the trust in a way through a private sale of the assets, to where if you need personal money out of the trust, when the trust has money, you can draw money out of the trust tax-free. And that's through a private bill of sale and a demand note that we will help you do. And that's when you need personal money. And personal money is the 4 F's: fun, fashion, facelift, and one other. It'll come to me in a minute. Those are things that the trust won't pay for. But I was sitting with a couple that he'd been in the real estate business all his life. He had his Japanese wife. They're about 78 years old. They were getting ready to retire. We were going through his assets, and we're doing a bill of sale, and he put his house in and his cars in and some other stuff in. He said, is there anything else that we need to add? And he said, oh, well, I have 35 investment properties. So we put those in. And when we got through and added it all up, his bill of sale and his demand note was about $7.5 million. So he's now liquidating those properties one by one, whenever he wants to. All the money comes back into the trust. He now has that money to live on. But when the money has trust and he needs something for a trip, he takes it right out of the trust and deducts it from his $7.5 million. He'll never use it all, because his trust is paying for his home and his cars, and none of that's income to him. So we also have ways that we work with certain doctor investors, for instance. Doctors make a lot of money, and there's some people out there are even people in real estate who do really well in real estate that make a lot of money. And we have certain legal strategies, especially with doctors, where if they own their companies, but they own the assets in the companies. They own the real estate. And through a series of leasebacks that we do, doctors can get money down into their trust through these leasebacks and build wealth in a way that they never could do it with a 401k. I have a doctor in Baltimore that's getting, between his business assets, his real estate, he's getting $53,000 a month into his trust tax-free. So this trust is an extraordinary. Now, well, let's talk. Now, let me.
Hey, Rich, we lost your volume there for a second.
All right.
There you go. Yep, you're good.
I kind of moved my fingers, and I guess it's covering it up. So
That's okay.
Commissions.
Mm-hmm.
Commissions, we have a way, because there's very few things. If you don't have enough, if we can impact and greatly reduce the amount of commissions that you earn, the taxable amount of commissions that you earn, by either working through an LLC, not an S Corp, not a C Corp, but an LLC, or a business trust. In the state of California, and I don't know, in some states it's not this way, you can have your commission checks paid to an entity. And here that entity can be a trust. And if you bring your commissions into a business trust, it's income in, expenses out, and the rest is passed through, because it's a pass-through, to your private trust. And it goes down into the private trust as extraordinary dividends, and it's not income to your private trust and not taxable to your private trust.
So someone at that point could pull that money out, and it's not a taxable event.
That's right.
Okay.
Now you go ahead.
There was a question from Todd Cohen from New York. He's one of our students. I think we just answered his question. He was asking, how does he get money out for himself? And you kind of answered that in 2 phases, and I appreciate you doing that, because I had the same question. So Todd, does that help you see the process here? In fact, we just talked about commissions, which is something you may be looking at doing, Todd, also in the future, of course, with your license eventually. So in any case.
Well, the other way that we can do it, that we do it with an LLC, and the LLC is easier for a number of different reasons. But if you have a private trust, which you can do 99% of the things that you're doing in the real estate business in the regular private trust, beneficial trust. But commissions, what we do is take your trust and we make it a member of your LLC.
Aha.
Then because your LLC basically has no value because you're always draining it, the trust will buy 90% of the trust from the general partner. Then we structure a profit sharing plan. All of this is legal. All it's been run by the IRS. Have long history of doing this. This is not risky at all. Then with a profit sharing plan, your commissions come in, your expenses go out, and 90%, we can do 90%, 90% of the commissions will go from the LLC and the profit sharing plan to your trust as limited partnership income, extraordinary dividends, reportable to the trust, but not taxable to the trust. And that's how we do commissions. We've got 2 ways to do commissions.
Okay.
How's my sound? I'm moving my.
Yeah, you're good right now. Yeah.
Good. So you bring the commissions in through the LLC,
Mm-hmm.
and what it does, it increases your demand note. There's a lot of things we haven't gone through, but there's ways to, once you do your initial demand note and bill of sale, and whatever number you come up with relative to your assets, there are ways that money that comes into your trust, if it's not earned by the trust, can increase your demand note.
Okay.
So then you can take personal money out of the trust, but the trust pays for basically your home, your mortgage payment, your cars, insurance. A lot of your life can be taken care of in the trust, and it's not taxable income to you.
Mm. Okay. And the protection comes from the fact that it's irrevocable too. That's one of the key things here is you really can't get to, like you said, the body of the trust because it's irrevocable, you know?
Well, we're living through a real life example right now, which is very visible. It's out there. When O.J. Simpson was going through his criminal trial, by virtue of the fact that the Goldmans won a $30 million judgment and are not able to collect anything that's in Mr. Simpson's trust, and that's they're complaining about that. That's just very visible. He had to have been put into an irrevocable trust with spendthrift provisions. Now we don't know if it was complex and discretionary. We don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But it had to be at least irrevocable, because you'll never have asset protection or any tax benefits in a revocable trust, ever. So we know he had to be at least irrevocable with spendthrift because they cannot penetrate his trust.
Yeah.
And that's the way this trust is.
Awesome.
So that's kind of in a nutshell, that's how this trust works. And there's a lot more to it. Now, before I forget here, and I'm gonna have to. I think Albert Aviles is back on. I think he's on the call. We had another time that we had to have a call. How's my sound? I'm trying to move my fingers. But if anybody has any interest, I'd like to give you his information, because he's who you will contact if you want to follow up. And his name is Albert. He is with Keller Williams, international real estate specialist with Keller Williams in Corona, California. His website is The Masters Trust, Masters with an S, themasterstrust.org. And I'm going to try to get to his phone number here.
I'm typing this in the chat box now. Everybody will be able to see it. So I know Albert, he's obviously a student, so good to see Albert. Albert's on mute right now. And by the way, yeah, go ahead, take your time, Richard. There's a couple questions came in, one or two I can field. Actually, you're going to have to field some of these, actually. Jorge is asking, he's up in the Washington State. Can any of this be backdated? For example, any money we earned last year or earlier this year? Can, like, let's just talk about 2019. If he's earned money since January, can he set up a trust now and backdate or retroactively take advantage of the trust?
Let me answer it this way.
Mm-hmm.
You have the right to form a trust when you first think about it.
Mm-hmm.
We honor the date that's on the application. So if a client says, I first thought of a trust back in January the 2nd of 2019, then that's what we just honor the client. So there's some words I don't want to use, but the answer is talk to us privately about that.
Okay. It has to do with intent. If the intent was there, I'm sure there's more to it than that, but.
That's right.
Okay, next question is from Shannon Goldsmith. Kind of near Albert. She's from Beverly Hills. Hey, Shannon, I believe I do have to get back to your email, Shannon. I promise I will within the day. Good to hear from you too, by the way. So Shannon's asking, what does it take to establish this type of trust? What are the costs? Is there a minimal capital investment to start it? Minimal capital investment. Yeah. So I think that's the kind of thing that would definitely be a private conversation. You can, if you want to touch on that, feel free. Feel free, Richard. Obviously, if you can, if you want to, yeah.
What's interesting and great about this trust, people get freaked out about that it's an irrevocable trust. It don't be.
Mhm.
An irrevocable trust means that you can't change the language. But the great thing about this trust is that this trust evolves as your life evolves. So there's a 4-page application that basically you guys are going to be the trustees of your own trust. We will, by the way, before I go, let me give you Albert's phone number, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
951-545-0739.
Okay.
So
yeah, for everybody on here, I'm getting ready to hit the enter key now. That's going to be coming your way in about 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. So hang on 1 second. Okay, that just went out to the all listeners. A website, Albert's name, and of course his phone number.
So it's very easy. The minimum, when you go and set up a trust operating account, the minimum that you have to put in is $50. We have people that set up trusts and don't really fund them for weeks or months. It's not complicated, and we walk you through it. Albert's in Corona, California, and I'm in Newport Beach, California.
Mm-hmm.
The law firm is in, and this is where I was living when I got involved with the law firm in Houston. But it doesn't. This is not a Texas trust. You call it the domicile. For people in Canada, it will be domiciled in Canada. For people in California, it's domiciled in. If you're in Beverly Hills, it's domiciled in the state of California, the county of Los Angeles. Mine is California, the county of Orange. That's where my domicile is. It's a California trust. So it's not complicated to do. Very easy. And you can add beneficiaries, delete beneficiaries, you can buy things, you can sell things. The trustee has total control of the trust. And you learn how to, once your money is coming into the trust, you'll learn how to use that money in ways that it's still not going to be taxable income to you. So some of it may be, but you'll learn you'll have, we'll teach you how to use this trust.
Okay.
It's not complicated.
Excellent. Hey, and it's sort of a related question. This is from Todd Cohen from New York. Quote unquote. So from a business structure standpoint, how would you suggest we set something like this up? In other words, suggestion: LLC owns a rental property and the trust is a LP. Is this something you would recommend setting up once you have a portfolio, or is this something that can be done even before acquiring first property? So sort of a 2-part question there.
Yeah, well, what you want to do is bring the property into the trust. There's no reason to necessarily set it up in an LLC, because in LLC you don't have protection. In the trust, the beautiful thing about this trust is you own the property in the LLC, and you get sued, they're not going to get your wealth. If you've built this trust up, they cannot penetrate this. The law firm has won every lawsuit where somebody's tried to penetrate this trust. So you want to hold the assets in the trust so that when you sell them, the money comes back into the trust and it's not taxable income.
Right. Amazing. Okay. Jorge's made a great comment for everybody listening. The booklet that we give you to produce, guys, for your clients, you could use this as an article, as a stuffer in your booklet. This is a great piece of information to give to your prospective clients. If you think about it, everything you're learning tonight, guys, most of you are licensed. Don't just think of this for yourself, but think of it, how can you use this to meet your clients' needs? How can you serve your clients better by using this information and getting them in contact with Albert and Richard? I mean, Albert's one of us, and that's why Richard's here, because he's coming through Albert. But I mean, guys, all kinds of light bulbs are going off in my head, and I hope they are in yours too, because you can use this, like Jorge's saying, to market. And then once they're in, once you have a client, remind them of this, give them the opportunity, make the connection, and help your clients out. So excellent ideas, guys.
Let me touch on that. Can I just touch on it?
Absolutely.
Um, okay, we're at 35 minutes.
You're okay.
Two guys were sent to us. We're getting ready to sell a shopping center, and they were just going to get whacked with capital gains taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And we quickly set up their trusts. We quit claimed the property into the trust. They sold it. The money goes into the trust, and they avoided the capital gains on the property. If you were going to list a property and you had the opportunity to potentially convince that landowner, property owner, that you could legally help them keep all of their capital gains, I don't know, it might be an advantage.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, so who's Patricia's asking? Hey, Patricia, look in the chat log. I did put in Albert's number, email address, and name, website, and the phone number. Phone number again, I'll just call it out as area code 951. Number is 545-0739. So that's 951-545-0739. And Jeff Johnson from Michigan's asking, and I think we already answered the question, but a good question. There was if you have properties in your trust, is there ever a need to do a 1031 exchange? And the answer is no. I don't see why you would ever need to do one,
No, there's no reason to do it. Even if it's gone through multiple 1031 exchanges, and you produce that quit claim deed just prior to closing, the escrow, when it sells and the money comes back into the corpus of the trust, it's deferred the entire capital gains.
Amazing. Yep. Okay.
We have a client in Spokane that's wanting to retire. He's got 35 commercial properties, set up a trust. When he gets ready to liquidate one of them, he brings it into the trust, quit claims it, sells it, and keeps it all.
Amazing. Hey, Jorge has a follow-up question. I see where he's going with the same thing where what Todd was thinking is, okay, what is the ultimate exit strategy to be able to use the money, like pay taxes? Do you pay taxes on distributions in the future under favorable circumstances? Really what it sounds like is if you structure properly, you really don't have to. And really, theoretically, the trust is its own entity. I actually have a trust myself, and it's its own entity. And if you pass away, the trust is still there. And maybe you have successor beneficiaries. When you pass away, then your children become beneficiaries. So Richard, any thoughts on that? I understand we did talk a little bit about how you can structure this income coming in, income coming out, so you don't have to pay taxes on it. But at the end of the day, like the exit strategy, seems to me like you just leave the trust intact,
Yeah, here's the way you do it. In the trust, you choose your successor trustee and successor compliance overseer. I'll just leave it. You're now the trustee. You choose who your successors are going to be. It's all laid out. When you go to the bank to open up your first bank account, they'll ask you who your successor trustee is. When you get hit by a bus and you're no longer around, your successor trustee seamlessly just takes over the trust. We say a few nice things over, your burial plot, and the trust lives on. It bypasses probate, and more importantly, it bypasses both state and federal estate tax. Right now it's 40% over 10.4, and I don't want to get political here, but that could be changed at any time by the other party, and you just don't have to worry about it. There's nothing worse than having a big tax bill come up when you've got assets. So so this just bypasses any estate issues at all.
Yeah.
And then the new trustee manages the trust for the beneficiaries.
Right.
And through your demand note in your bill of sale and your demand note, if you do it right, you will be able to take money out of the trust when you need it for, you want to go to Neiman Marcus and buy 3 or 4 Brioni suits, or, you know, if you're a lady, go and buy some clothes, you take it out of the trust and you reduce your demand note, and it's not taxable income to you.
Mm-hmm.
The trust can pay the trustee a salary. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can do.
Right.
You can borrow money from the trust.
That's good stuff.
You have great latitude in this trust.
Is everybody listening? We just got another question. Can we refer home sellers to Albert or someone else? And I think the answer is definitely to Albert. I just reposted Albert's name, the website, and his phone number in the chat log. It says to all panelists, so you should all be able to see that. I'll do it again here in another couple minutes. There was another question that came up before that. Let's see. This is from Patricia. What type of trust is the one that he sets up so he will avoid paying capital gains once it's sold to the trust? Well, I think so Patricia, that's what it's right here. It's the non-grantor irrevocable complex discretionary spendthrift trust. It's a long title, but that's the specific type of trust that's used to do this.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think there was another question. Let's see. After this, yeah, definitely. Any questions on this? If you want to put this in front of your clients, Albert's the man to contact originally. So, okay, this is from Shannon. This is a rookie question from Shannon. What about tax time? Will any CPA know how to report the income correctly? So I guess what she's asking is, if it gets reported but not taxed, is there do you know of tax accountants or the ones that have a certain designation, Richard, that Shannon and other folks they know what to look for when they're seeking out a tax accountant, you know?
No, we have a whole network of tax. We like enrolled agents with the IRS. CPAs are okay, but we like enrolled agents because they understand the IRS, and we have a whole network of them. We'll just, I'm in Newport Beach, and 7 years we only had one guy down in Texas, and he's the one that does my taxes. I just email it to them. He'll work with you.
Yeah.
And we already have tax attorneys, trust attorneys, and tax preparers all set up. We'll just refer you to one of them. The average guy is going to say this is nonsense because his world is revocable trusts.
Right.
Revocable trusts are taxed.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I haven't seen my tax accountant for years.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you live close to him. That's exactly right.
Completely different state and everything, actually. So,
yeah.
And I do have an irrevocable trust too. So, in any case, these are excellent questions, guys. I tell you what. So give me some shout outs, guys. Is this the kind of thing you can see helping you help your clients? Or better yet, like Jorge was suggesting, is helping you land new clients by putting this type of information in, say, your booklet or the letter that goes out, or any number you can post it on. Well, I gotta be careful where you're posting stuff, but the people that you have initial contact with, I can see you sharing this with them, guys. Absolutely, hands down. So, in any case,
and by the way, we pay referrals. There's a whole network. There's a referral network out there. So just discuss that with Albert.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure there's a whole structure here. And the thing is, guys, years ago, Rich was right. The people I were working with their knowledge was limited, and I knew about irrevocable trust. I just didn't know enough about it. I didn't know how to set them up. I finally found somebody that really could talk to me, articulate it well, explain it to really relieve my fears, because it's not like you completely give up all control. I mean, for technically speaking, you do, but for practical purposes, these are strategies that the ultra wealthy have been using, and because of the world of knowledge we have available to us now, a lot of these strategies are now available to almost anybody, that has anything that, if you want to protect assets and income, you can do it. It's not like the old days where this was reserved for the top 1%. Thank goodness for the power of the internet and teachers, and it just, now this is all available to us. And my suggestion is always just learn, and I promise you'll see how you can use this for yourself. Hey, real quick, we got some more questions popping in. I know we got to start to wrap this up. Victoria's saying, yes, many times winners will say, I'd like to sell, but I don't want to pay all those taxes. Well, now they got a way around that, Victoria. Just give Albert a call. Jeff Johnson is saying, yep, knowledge is money. It's how the rich get richer. There's a lot of value in sharing this with clients. Most agents don't live in this world, so it creates value for us. Absolutely. I appreciate your feedback, guys. So to wrap this up here, reach out to Albert and Richard. The document I have up here on my computer screen, is this something that normally we would share this kind of thing with our students the very next day when the recording of the webinar goes out? Is it okay if we do that, or would you recommend there's something else that they can use to put in front of their prospects? I'm glad to share it. I just want to make sure from your perspective, this is
the legal compliance. I would show this to an attorney.
Okay.
I mean, everybody has their professionals they've trusted, but if they're going to go and talk about this, which most people will, show this to them. It's okay to distribute it, but there's easier things on the website that you can show people.
Yeah.
That explains it a little easier. This is into the weeds for professionals.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Hey, for everybody on it, Patricia's asking, she's not seeing where I keyed in the phone number and the, Albert's name, his website, and his phone number, but it's going on the chat box, Patricia, where you're typing. Somehow or other, you must be able to scroll up or down. Otherwise, I'm not sure, and it's definitely going out there. Like, I can see it in the chat box. As soon as I type it, hit enter. Maxine's saying she doesn't see it. What's Richard's website? Okay, let me go back to the original post, and I'll just read this off to you. I have no idea why I'm not seeing it. Okay, so it's Albert, Albert, Aviles, Aviles, first and last name. The website is themastertrust.org.
Masters with an S.
Oh, S, I'm sorry. It is an S in there. Themasterstrust.org. Okay. With an S. And the phone number is 951-545-0739. And I'll just cut and paste again. It's saying going to all panelists, 7:39 p.m. Actually, hang on one second here. Let's do this. I know what the answer is. It's going to show up now because it just said panelists. It didn't say panelists and all attendees. So now you should see it, guys, in your chat box. Actually, Todd just said that. Todd, you're maybe sending to all panelists. Okay. Now they got it. Oh, now I'm getting lots of positive feedback. Okay, sorry guys, I didn't realize that feature wasn't clicked on there. Okay, so Richard, any final thoughts? I'm going to try to wrap this up in about a minute, but boy, this is an excellent subject, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share this. I think you just opened up a lot of eyes and helps our agents, help our clients be more financially successful, and then makes our guys look like heroes, quite frankly. So, yeah.
And the only thing is, don't, just because it sounds a little complicated, it's very simple to operate. We will teach you. Mm-hmm. And if you can wrap your head around it, it'll change your life.
Yeah. It's just like math. I always give the analogy of, remember in junior high, when letters were introduced into mathematics, you went from adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing to pre-algebra, x divided by y equals z, that kind of thing. And it kind of freaked you out a little bit. And then you figured out how it worked, and you realize, it's a law. It's like math is like a natural law. Once you get it, you get it. Same thing with this stuff, guys. All common law is based on common sense. It goes back literally hundreds and hundreds of years. Old English law. This is all, Richard, tell me, is this correct? This is all based on Old English law, right?
The first spendthrift trust, I'm not going to get the year right, but it's back in the 14s or 1500s in England.
There you go.
And 643 was written, which is interesting. It's written to comply with trusts rather than the other way around back in the the original tax code.
Yeah, amazing.
And the Constitution is a trust statement. They can't do anything about trust law, and they can't do anything about the IRS code because politicians are operating under these same types of operations. They're not going to change it.
Yep.
Can't change.
That's how a politician goes from a less than $1 million net worth to, tens and hundreds of millions of dollars.
That's right.
In 8 years, it's amazing. So, hey guys, we got to wrap this up. Excellent subject. Any questions that we did not get to, please reach out to Albert. You can go to kw.com, click on the, California, select Corona, and you'll see him in there. And plus now you've got his phone number and his website address. So real good guy, good student.
All right. Thank you.
And hey, Richard, thanks again, man. I look forward to meeting you in person. This is an excellent subject,
Yeah, it is. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And for everybody else watching, and just God bless you. God bless you. We will see you next week, by the way, which is going to be the 19th, next Wednesday. And by the way, special announcement, thanks to Shannon Goldsmith. Shannon's going to come on July 18th. We'll announce a July webinars. She's going to show all you guys how she used census and RPR to arrive at specific, literally niche level data to know exactly where to flip and buy rentals using these awesome tools. So thank you, Shannon, for doing that. And you guys pay attention for that. Look out for that announcement. So in the meantime, take care of yourselves, and we will see you next week. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.